What's up guys, Garrett with SelfTaughtDev. Today we're gonna go over 5 things I wish I knew earlier in my dev career about Git. So let's get going. First one up here, let's say we've got a file that we have made some changes to. Let's go ahead and clear this out. And now let's just say we are adding this like usual, right? So we'll say git status. All right, cool. We can see that we've got the file. That's the only thing we've changed. We'll do git add-a and git status. And now we can see that that file is staged. And then let's go ahead and say git commit-m, and we'll say added test file. Cool, so we've committed our file, but then we think, oh no, that commit message is not in the proper format. We need to change our commit message. For example, when I worked at Chase, if you didn't have your commit message formatted in a particular way, the remote repo would reject your push request. So how do we change our commit message? Well, let's say git log. And we can see that we've got our commit message here, added test file, but we need to change that. So we're gonna say git commit --amend-m. And now just with that simple amend flag, anything we put here will override the previous commit message. So let's say feat, ticket, we'll just throw some random number in there, and then added test file. Now if we git log this again, we can see that our previous commit message here has been overridden by the new one we added. So that is the first tip, how to override a previous commit message. On to number 2. Number 2 is how to unstage, or how to basically discard unstaged changes. So let's say we made a change to this file, and then let's say we made, instead of just one file, this is like 12, 13, 14 files that we have changes to. And for whatever reason, we no longer need those changes. What's the quickest way to get rid of all of those changes? Well, we're just going to say git restore dot, and then that will basically just discard all of the unstaged changes. An older way to do this is git checkout dot, but there are some problems associated with that, and git restore is the more modern way to do it. So if you have been using git checkout, I recommend using git restore instead. But that's the easiest way to discard all unstaged changes. Now, number 3, let's say for some reason we no longer want this file to be tracked, and we want to add this to the gitignore file and not track it anymore. So we will go to gitignore and we'll say test.html and save. And we can see that we have our gitignore change that we need to commit. But if we go here and make some change, and why is test.html showing up now? We added it to our gitignore, so why is that still showing up? And it's because Git basically has this index of files that it needs to track, and just adding it to gitignore doesn't remove it from that index. So what we need to do is, let's go ahead and clear this so we have some more screen real estate. There are 2 ways you can do this. The first one is git rm-cached, and then the file name, so just test.html. So basically it won't track that file anymore after this next commit. Another way we can do that is if we unstage this, we do have to discard this change for now. And then we'll go ahead and commit this. We'll just stage that and put in, we just added to the gitignore. We'll commit that. Cool, so now we've got that committed. And then let's go back to our test. And then if we can see if we make changes here, that's still gonna show up, but we don't want that. So what are we gonna do? We'll say git rm-rf-cached dot. And then that basically removes all of our files from the Git tracking index. So we need to add them back. And when it adds them back, it'll look at each file, compare it to our gitignore, and say, do we need to track this file, or is that in our gitignore? So now if we say git add dot, now they're all added back to the tracking index, and we can see that this file is being staged to get deleted again, so it won't track that file anymore. But if you had multiple files, they would all show up here. And that's just a way. So the first way we went over is if you just need to untrack one specific file, and then if you need to untrack multiple files, just removing them all and then adding them back in is the more simple way to do that, in my opinion. So that is number 3, I think, right? We were number 3. Number 4 is how to switch between branches easier. Let's say you've got like a working branch and then you've got one that's newer that has a bug in it, and you're trying to like switch back and forth to compare and see if you can find where the bug is that way. If we do git checkout dash, that is going to check out the previous I guess I don't think I've switched branches in this one actually. So let's go ahead and check out a new branch. Checkout dash B test. Cool, so now we're on this test branch with our test file. And if we wanna just switch back to main, we can go git checkout dash, and then that switches us back to our master branch. So the git checkout with the dash just switches back to the previous branch. If we run that again, we can see that we are back on our test branch, and that's just an easy way to go back and forth that I thought was pretty cool to know about. Now, number 5 and the last one is, let's say you've got some changes and you don't want to commit them, but you want to save them. Like maybe you're working on 2 different tickets and you're stuck on one ticket, but you're going to switch to another ticket so you can kind of like let this other one rest, and maybe your subconscious will come up with a solution for you. So what do you do? First, let's unstage this. So we are still tracking stuff. We're going to get rid of that in our gitignore. And just close the gitignore too. And then, so there's more changes. We'll save this. And then now we've got 2 things. So how do we like save those without actually committing them? Well, there's this thing called git stash. And if you do that, then it basically stashes those changes so they're saved, and you can come back to this branch and apply them later. So let's say we went to git checkout our previous branch, so now we're on our test branch, we do some changes there, and then we fix that ticket, and then we go back to our old branch, and now we're working on our original ticket that we got stuck on, and we wanna apply those changes back. We'll just do git stash apply, and then that will put those changes back in our branch. You can also do git stash list, and that will list all of the stashes here. We've only got 1, so it's only got 1 stash right now. But if you stash multiple times, you'll see a log of all the stashes here. But those are 5 of the things that I wish I knew earlier about Git in my dev career. If you found any of those helpful, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows I'm doing good stuff, and that helps the channel out a lot. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the cool stuff I'm putting out. If you want to get my resume template, the one I used when I was first applying for dev jobs before I had any technical experience, look in the description of where you can get that. If you want me to review your resume, feel free to shoot me that in an email. I will include that in my next resume review video if I have any feedback for you. And if you want to come hop in the Discord, talk tech to me or any of the other devs in there, or just come hang out in the SelfTaughtDev subreddit, links to both of those are in the description as well. I think that's about it for this one though, so I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Round 1.